Hey guys, what's up? Let's take a closer look at Rusty's engine. This is the 40 horsepower 1200cc that we rebuilt with Darren. There's a 3-part series of this engine being rebuilt. Go check those out. It's pretty cool. If you're looking to figure out how to rebuild one of these, it's a great reference. A lot of details in there for you guys. I thought it'd be cool to take a closer look at it, talk about some of the things we did, and start it up, let it idle, and rev it up for you guys. Check it out. Alright guys, what did we do to this engine? This engine was completely rebuilt. If it wasn't replaced, it was reconditioned, and it was probably, I'm going to say, this is probably about 95 to 98% original parts. There were a few parts that were replaced with brand new parts, original style, but brand new. Like the coil, this is a brand new coil, and this is a brand new crank pulley and a brand new generator pulley. Now this pulley is actually designed for a 36 horse generator, but it does fit and it does work. Darren didn't seem too concerned about it, but it could cause some issues. I'm not sure. I need to do some more research. If you guys know, let me know. What issues would that cause, having a smaller generator pulley on here? It doesn't seem to be affecting the performance of the engine. It's running great. I would imagine maybe it affects the performance of the electricity. Maybe it runs a little bit faster. I'm not sure. New spark plug wires, new spark plugs, obviously new hoses and gaskets and seals for the internal parts, new bearings for the internal parts. But internally we reused the original case. The case was in great shape. We reused the crank, we reused the camshaft, the crankshaft, and the lifters, the pistons, and the rods. It's basically all original on the inside, except for the parts that wear out, like their piston rings and the bearings. The fuel pump, the distributor, and the carburetor are original to this engine. I sent them to Ed Fall at Vintage Works, and he reconditioned them, and he did an excellent job. I mean, they look great. The only issue we had was with this governor. This was original to the engine. For some reason they had a governor on this engine, maybe to try to keep it from revving up too high because it was a business vehicle. I'm not sure. He reconditioned this too. It looks amazing. I think he replaced this part here. Not sure exactly what this is, some kind of solenoid or something, but that looks brand new. And I think maybe the original one was just a little bit smaller because we were having some clearance issues with the throttle body. So what we ended up doing was just taking this off. We don't really need a governor on there anyway. The only reason I was wanting to use it is because it's original to this engine, but it was a factory or a dealer option add-on. So, you know, you could have had this engine with or without that piece. This is an original style generator, but I ended up getting a new one. I mean, this is original 6-volt generator that would have been on this vehicle. I have the original one inside Rusty. I was going to rebuild it, but ran into a couple issues, so I ended up picking up another one that's already been rebuilt. The tin is all original. Obviously you can tell, you can see the pits from the rust and the little bit of denting here. What I ended up doing was I took it to a sandblasting guy that also does powder coating. So he sandblasted it and powder coated all the tin for this engine, and he did an excellent job. This piece here looks like brand new. The fan housing looks brand new. The pieces that did not have a lot of rust look brand new. So he did an excellent job there. I did have to buy a new, it's not a new, but I found a new old stock exhaust because Rusty's was completely rusted out. I'll show you guys that in a minute. What else? Unfortunately, we weren't able to use the original fan because it was slightly bent. So Darren had a extra one laying around that we threw in there. So at some point I might paint that, but I really don't mind. It's kind of it's hidden back there. Once you put it in the vehicle, you don't see it, and it works great. So I really don't want to mess with it. We took off the heater boxes and replaced them with these J tubes. Now down in Florida, it's very rare that you need heat. It would help to have for defrost, but this is not going to be a daily driver for me. I'm only going to be using it occasionally to take it to shows and drive it around town, but you know, if I need to wipe the window, I can just use a rag. But this cuts out the heater box, which are they're a pretty cool system, but they need to be rebuilt. These are the original valve covers that were powder coated. They're still working good. And the original flywheel, basically everything on this motor is original, like I said, except for the coil. I still have the original one, but it was all rusty and it's electrical, so you kind of want to replace stuff like that. The wires, the spark plugs, and the pulleys. Everything else is original. We painted this, and Darren did some pretty cool things with the internal parts. He polished the rods and he did some other things. In the lifters, he put like these little oil galleys, like these little notches, so that it allows oil to flow better. I'm sure some of you guys can explain that better, but basically allows the oil in the internal parts to flow better, keeps the engine cooler and lubricated better. He did some other things, I'm sure some tricks that he has up his sleeve to make it run smooth, because it runs really smooth and doesn't really get hot, so that's pretty exciting. I can't wait to get it in rusty and use it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a little while. We probably do a couple test fits where we put it in with the transmission and have to pull it back out and test the transmission and stuff like that. And we still have to rebuild the front beam and check the transmission, put in the torsion bars. There's a lot of stuff to do still before we can put this in rusty and actually use it, but we're getting there. Hopefully in the next 6 months to a year, we'll have all those things done and we'll be driving rusty down the road. So stay tuned. We're going to have lots of episodes working on rusty, fixing the metal and fixing the front beam and suspension and all that stuff. It's going to be awesome. So I'm excited about it. I hope you guys are too. This is obviously not the original air filter. This is the air filter right here. It's called the oil bath, and we're going to restore this. This will be another cool video that we're going to do. But basically, it would have gone, or it does go. It goes right here. It connects to this bracket right here. Connects to the carburetor, and that'll fit on there. It's going to look awesome. We're going to do it in a satin black. And we're going to get that all cleaned up soon. This is the oil that we used. You want to use a high zinc oil. This is the one that the local Volkswagen shop recommends down here. Triangle. They're a pretty cool shop. They've been around for a long time. And this is the 20W50 with boosted zinc. So you want to make sure you got high zinc in your air-cooled engines, because it helps protect the internal parts. And you want to make sure you're using high octane fuel if possible. We have 93 around here, so that's what we have in the tank here. It's just going to help it run smoother and better. All right, what else did we do? Engine was completely rebuilt and put back together. All original parts, a couple of new parts like the coil and the pulleys, you know, the wires, spark plugs. Found a replacement exhaust. My buddy over at Zalix sent me this really cool starter adapter. So you can connect your starter to this adapter, this adapter connects to the adapter connects to the engine mount right here. This is normally where the transmission would mount, and your starter, and you can start it right here on the ground. It's freaking awesome, or wherever you have it. You connect it to a battery. It's got these little connectors here, and it's labeled. Everything's really labeled nice. So you got your solenoid connection here, goes to your solenoid right here. You connect that, and where else does it go? You got a connection for your generator or alternator, connects there. We have the ignition, it connects to the positive side of the coil there, and then you have your oil sensor connection, connects to your oil sensor. Okay, and you have your control box here. So it senses that we're connected to oil. It senses the generator. You hit the run button, the ignition button comes on, and then you press start and it's going to start. It's got this cool magnet on the back, so you can stick it right here if you want. You just want to make sure you watch out for the flywheel. Make sure it doesn't get caught up in the flywheel, and make sure it doesn't lay on the exhaust. Other than that, you should be good. So let's start it up, see how it sounds. All right, guys, it's been a few days since the last time I started it, so let's see what happens here. It's a little cold. Running pretty good. Running pretty good, guys. All right, guys, well, there it is, a little recap of the engine build that we did with Darren. Thanks, Darren, I really appreciate it, man. It was a lot of fun. If you guys haven't seen those videos, go check them out. There's a 3-part series of Darren building this engine, helping me build this engine. It was pretty cool. Go check it out. All right, guys, stay tuned for more. See ya.